I want you to check yourself. Are you secretly just hoping for your desired reality to show up, or what you want to show up, or are you actually trusting it? And this is an insidious and very hidden state of consciousness. And in manifestation community, they say that you shouldn't wait for it. When you are in the state of waiting, you are creating a reality where you have to wait for it. And the saying that a washed kettle never boils, right? When you want a kettle to boil so bad and you're watching it, it never boils. But the moment you, God forbid, you look for something else in the meantime and you come back and it makes a mess. It's boiled. So, but the idea came to me from a recent call with a client, and they said something like, I'm hoping for my change to happen in my world. And in that moment I interjected quickly and I said, because I remember the words of Neville Goddard, he said, hope is a beggar. It's begging. It's like looking at somebody hopeful with the big puppy eyes that they will give you a breadcrumb. Maybe I will get a breadcrumb of love from a specific person. I hope they text me back. I hope I get the job. You see how low vibrational that is, and how non-magnetic that sounds. Now, not to shame anybody, I'm putting a light on this idea. This is what the vibration of hope is. And I interjected quickly with them and I said, let's use the word trust. I trust that my reality will unfold. And that was immediately an aha moment, and they really like these words. Because why? What does trust mean? Trust means that, like you trust Amazon, right? You already bought your stuff there. You already bought the brand new iPhone, 27 Pro Max for $68,000, and it's coming, right? You bought it. You trust Amazon that it's gonna be here tomorrow because the track record of Amazon is very good and you always get stuff from them. So trust is sort of like knowing that it is gonna show up, and it's an excited expectation, right? That your desired reality is unfolding right now. So when you say, I trust that they will choose me because I am already chosen, right? You apply Neville Goddard's teaching that you already have it, and he said, like, you already have that which you desire to be, and your refusal to believe it is the only reason you do not see it. And what he really meant was this hoping. Even the word belief is weird because belief says that you need to work hard to believe something. No, you understand how reality works and you know it. You trust in and you know it because this is how reality works. You give directions to your I am awareness via your trust, via your assumptions, via your repeated thought, and your I am awareness gets it done, right? And by the way, those who want to work with me one-on-one, the link is in the description, and also I do live stream every Saturday on the membership side, and I answer all your questions in depth. So if you're interested, the link is in the description. So the idea is to stop hoping insidiously, because check yourself. You might be hoping and waiting rather than trusting. And so I recently made a video that about the idea that your higher self rejects nothing. It's a myth that you need to impress your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind has no personality, it has no blocks, it has no will of its own. Its will was to, your higher self wills or desire was to come here and have this human experience. And it is God. In its unlimited form, it cannot have a human experience because it is all that is. It has everything instantaneously. The whole point was for God to experience limitations, as Neville Goddard said. So this is why this setup is this way. But it's a myth that people think that your subconscious mind rejects your desire. Oh no, I have limiting beliefs, I have this. No, all of it is conscious. Now, I made a video, it's a whole concept that I have talked about in that video. I will put the link in the description. But basically you have a program running that you have accepted to be true. That is what rejects your desire, not the subconscious. So what I'm trying to say is, The first time you say something, it is given. I recently made another video, just the previous video from this, talking about the idea from Abraham Hicks and their analogy of the vortex. And they have written a book called Ask and It Is Given. And what they say is, like, same analogy with Neville Goddard, it intermingles with that you already have that which you desire to be. And they say you already have that which you desire to be in a vibrational form, in a potential. Like the first time you say it, it's given vibrationally from your higher self. But the problem is that it's in your vortex of energy, but you are standing outside of it because you are not allowing it, you are not getting ready for it. How? You're hoping for it to show up rather than trusting, right? Trust puts you immediately in the confident expectation that is coming, while hope puts it somewhere into the future, and due to some external causes, maybe God or universe will be, graceful for you, or have some mercy and pity for you, and then you will get what you want. See the difference? So, trust. How do you build that trust, right? The big question. Like, how do I believe? How do I know? You talk about this stuff. How do I know it's gonna come? Well, I have made videos about the idea that it's a decision. Nobody else lives in your mind except you. Let me say that again, right? Because people in the back might not have heard it. There's nobody else in your mind that rejects your desires except you. And again, it comes from your program that you have repeatedly accepted to be true via society, via life experience, via assumptions, religion, nation, teachers, ideologies, philosophy, whatever, all this stuff. And that program rejects your desires. So, to know something is to decide that you have it. In the strict sense of understanding the first principles of how reality works. And I've talked about that at length, that the idea is that there is only one mind, there is only one consciousness, and everybody who is aware and conscious of their selves are borrowing the same consciousness, and when they think in the same mind. And that mind is impersonal, it does not really care if you ask for something good or bad. Ask and it is given. It gives you the worst experiences and the best, up to you who you ask for. Now some people say, well, how did I manifest all this misery in my life? I never asked for it. Well, it does not have to be one-to-one. It is about your state of being. If somebody is really struggling with love and they feel a victim to their specific person and they're really tired and drained from that situation, there's a high chance that they will start struggling in their work life as well, in the business as well. Why? Because they are living in a lower vibration, in a state of being where they are victim to the world. Well, more things will make you their victim, right? So people think that there is a one-to-one correlation with everything. Like, I think nobody loves me and it only plays in my love life. Not really. It can play out in myriads of forms and areas. So what I'm trying to say is that the first principle of manifestation is that there is only one mind, and everything else, everything that you see in this world is mind substance, is the substance of God. This is why in spirituality they said that there is no other, there is everybody's you pushed out, and it's all one, and everything is God. Why do they say that? They say that because of the first principle, that there is only God in this world, like Neville Goddard said. So in reality, there is just God experiencing itself in these myriads of experiences and forms and lives, right? And so you are one with the same divine mind. And you have access to all of it via your imagination. And recently in the coaching call, this was another great question asked by my client. They said something like, what is the nature of imagination? Imagination is just a tool, or like, what is it? And I said, imagination is God, like Neville Goddard said. Because the substance of God is mind. It says in the book, The Kabbalion, the substance of God is mind. The all is mind, the universe is mind substance, And that's why God can imagine a thing and it becomes, because its substance is not really some matter or physical, as they will tell you. It's mind substance. And this is why manifestation works. Otherwise, you cannot change a physical thing out there just by thinking about it. You can only change it because if it's mind substance and you are thinking in the mind of God, well, God can imagine it differently because you are imagining it differently. And this is why your decisions matter, right? You're like, but how do I know? But how do I believe? Well, your decision tells God that this is what I want. You stick with it with persistence, and then God says, okay, have it, right? And so that's how it works. So this is why your decisions matter, because your decision is a direction to the depth of your own being to manifest that which you have decided. Now, the one who doubts is the reason and logic, as is the old man, as it says in the scripture, is the old man that doubts, which is the program. And so God says yes for the very first time. And so the idea of the video is to stop hoping for things, because in hoping you are still delegating your power to something outside of you. You are still thinking as the second cause, the tyranny of the second cause is still upon you, and you're thinking and hoping that something outside of you will change and then you will be given what you want. But that's not the case. There's no one and nothing to change but self. And so your decision changes you. Let your decision change you. And in my recent video I said that the Abrahamic analogy, that they say everything you want the first time you say is given and is vibrationally in your vortex, but you are outside of the vortex. So how do you get into the vortex? You start by saying that I am ready for my desire to unfold now. I am ready for my reality to shift now. What does being ready mean? What does being ready mean? It means that the thing that you wanted to do is upon you and you are ready for it. You are ready for the shift instead of waiting for it, right? I'm ready to have my Amazon package taken from the guy, right? He's here, he's done, I'm ready. Instead of where is it, I'm waiting, he's not here, where is it? I must check the tracking number 38 times in 3 minutes. You see the difference? And so the idea is to examine yourself. Are you secretly hoping for things to change outside of you before you change self? Are you trusting in your I am awareness or not? Because that is where all the power is, right? Circumstances only change when you change. They mean nothing. This is why they mean nothing. This is why there are so many videos talking about the idea that, oh, just ignore reality. Just it means nothing and circumstances mean nothing. Well, because circumstances are a reflection, right? They have no life of their own. They have no life of their own. They need you to decide how they're going to be, right? They need your decision. This is why it is important to know your power and know the power of your decisions. An assumption is just a decision to be something else than who you are right now, who you're experiencing right now, right? As it says in the scripture, let the weak man say, I am strong. Well, the weak man is weak right now. And so he's deciding to be strong, right? There is no sign of strength there yet. There are no signs of strength there yet. Circumstances are not showing strength. But the weak man says, I am strong. And then circumstances are, okay, then you must be strong. And God says, yes, the first time. And God's like, okay, you're imagining yourself to be strong, let me give you strength. And the strength comes naturally and automatically. And so, trusting is knowing who you really are and knowing the depth of your own being. Once you know the depth of your own being, it is easy to trust it because it's the substance of God and it's the substance of all that is. It's the substance of, it's the so-called magical substance that explains the phenomenon of life in the first place. It's the first principle, it's the first cause, right? So when you know it, then you realize, okay, that's who I really am. I'm not the ego, I'm not the program, I'm not my name, I'm not this garment, I'm not this body. All these things, the labels that I put on myself, they are just drama. It's just a character I'm playing, and I chose to play this. But who I really am is the I am awareness behind it, the substance of God. And so that substance is formless, malleable, and it needs direction of the so-called ego or your character that you're playing, the waking mind, to decide where this experience is going to go. And so this is why, because of the substance of God in you, all things are possible to you, because all things are possible to God. Now it will make sense to you why scripture says that, right? And I and my Father are one, but my Father is greater than I. And the Father within doeth all the works. Like, what does it all mean? This is what it means. The depth of your own being is dramatizing the whole experience, but it needs your decisions and assumptions to move in a certain direction, because that's why it came here, to have a genuine human experience. And in our human ignorance, we create a lot of chaos. But now that you know the law, you can begin to trust your I am awareness and your decision making power, and watch your reality shift. And check yourself, are you hoping or are you trusting? And that makes all the difference. So this is it for this video. Until next time, bye bye.